Every day, it gets harder and harder to maintain our focus. New opportunities constantly fight for our attention and they pull us away from our ultimate direction. It's easy to say yes to everyone who needs something from us, but soon we find ourselves with a packed schedule, little time to do what we want to do, and have to pass up on even better opportunities. And that's why there's a secret superpower that most of us need to learn. It's the art of saying no. Now, in order to tell you about this lesson I had to learn, I need to take you back to when I first had a dream of achieving more in life. As I grew up, I realized that there's two types of people in this world. The first sort of cruise through life as it comes. They're fairly chilled and they enjoy the status quo. They're content with how things are and they're not in any immediate rush to change things. Then there's the second type. Those who want more out of life. Not necessarily in a selfish or ungrateful way, but out of lust for life, out of wonder for what else is out there, things they can achieve and people they can meet. And I personally had always identified as the second type. I was determined to make sure that I was always leveling up in all the aspects of life that mattered to me. So I began to say yes to new opportunities whenever I could. To me, it was only logical that if I took on new things, I'd gain more from them. Whatever life threw at me, I would try it. I met new people, I took on cool projects, I went to new places. At the time, something about saying yes just felt very right. It seemed to be making other people happy that I was saying yes to what they were saying, and I was getting all this immediate feedback that yes was a very good word. And day by day, I felt like the ball was rolling faster and faster. Every time I said yes, it felt as though I was achieving more and getting ahead, until I really stopped to think about what was truly taking place. It wasn't long before I had realized that I was taking on too much. My schedule was packed with things that I couldn't even remember saying yes to, and things I couldn't get out of. And when new, better opportunities came along, I wasn't even able to say yes because I was already juggling too many things. Not only that, but I began to question where exactly these opportunities were taking me. I was moving forward, yes, but in which direction? I was doing things that I wasn't even sure I wanted to, and truthfully, most of the things I was getting involved in were really just benefiting someone else. And that raised the question, is all this activity necessary action or just meaningless movement? Be as generous as you can, but selfish enough to get your work done. I had to start saying no to opportunities, new ones, existing ones, basically anything that didn't really align with what I should have been doing. I figured that saying no would help me avoid the dangers of saying yes. And so I started saying no to people. And boy, did shit hit the fan. I upset people, I disappointed them, they thought I was uninterested, carefree, demotivated, you name it. And I was like, hold up, I say yes and you love me, but I say no and I become all of these things? Like, that's a bit unfair. And I knew from experience at this point that saying no was necessary and the right thing to say, but I was getting such a backlash from people. For example, even senior doctors and researchers were getting disappointed with me because I was saying no to helping them with their projects. It really got me thinking, is the problem with them or was there something I was missing? Was I doing something wrong? And just when I needed it most, life taught me a lesson that I needed to see, hear and understand. I began to realize that successful people were saying no a lot in their own unique way. Whether it was book authors, celebrities or actors, everyone who was doing something that mattered seemed to understand this one lesson. You do not say yes to everything. You have to learn to say no and say it well. And so I would watch these successful people say no in a way that would never leave you feeling upset or annoyed, but rather respectful of their decision. And I didn't exactly know how they were doing it, so I decided to start deconstructing some of the responses I had personally received. Firstly, be honest. This might sound cliche, but lying about the real reason you're saying no only makes things worse. Don't make something up that might bite you in the back later down the line. Soften the blow. Don't be super blunt with saying no, try and build up to it with a line or two beforehand. There's nothing worse than dropping people's hopes off a steep cliff, so try and ease them into it. Show appreciation. Thank them in some way for considering you for whatever's been asked. It's a gesture that doesn't go unnoticed and shows that you actually took the time to read the entire message and understand what was being asked of you. Believe it or not, some people give off the vibe that they didn't even read the entire message, and so addressing that in some way in your response, I think, is very undervalued. Do what you can. If there's something you can do to help them, offer it. You don't necessarily have to do the thing that they've asked of you, but if there is something else you can afford to offer them, go for it. If you can also help them down the line rather than right at that very moment, then say it. Show support. Just because you won't be directly involved in that opportunity, it doesn't mean that you can't cheer them on from the sidelines. So give them a motivational boost by cheering them on. Redirect them. Saying no to someone can often make them feel as though they're hitting a dead end. Instead, if you know someone else who can help them, redirect them. This way, instead of being that dead end, you can push them one step closer to what they're actually looking for. and they'll be grateful. When you first start saying no to people, events, and opportunities, they'll inevitably take it the wrong way. But that's not really their fault because it's a natural reaction. For most of us, no was a word of rejection growing up. Can we have those sweets? No. Can we play outside? No. Can we have that toy? No. So now when we ask someone for something and they say no, you might be thinking, this person's a douchebag. But if that person had explained, oh, I'm really sorry, I wish I could help you, but I've got some really important work to do, I hope you can understand, then you might be like, okay, fair enough. In every situation, you have to say no in a way that gives consideration to how the other side will take it. Saying no is incredibly easy once you get used to it, but saying it in a way that doesn't burn bridges is really difficult. Saying yes opens you up to new opportunities and is no doubt amazing in its own way. But there comes a point later down the line where saying no is more important, more necessary, and more difficult. The winners learn this early on in order to make space for the right things, the better things, the things that they actually want to do. But those who never learn to say no leave a lot of opportunities off the table and often get taken advantage of. If saying yes originally helped me to get moving, then saying no helped me to stay in the right direction. So yeah, that's the story of how I discovered the art of saying no. Now, if you watch this far, I don't recommend you go crazy and start saying no to your mum, because that's not going to end well. Just be mindful of what you say yes to and try practicing saying no to things that you probably shouldn't be saying yes to. Let me know how it goes. Share your experiences with me in the comments below, and if you've got any smooth ways of letting people down, then I'd love to hear them. Also, subscribe to my weekly newsletter Life Lemons for original articles every single week, as well as notifications on new book notes and my new videos. Otherwise, do what matters, and I'll see you next time.